What's up, guys? How you doing? This is Micah Dobbins, host of the Micah Dobbins Show. I am live today with Icebreakers CEO and founder Anthony Walton. I'm so excited about this interview, and I want you guys to tune in right now. Don't miss not 1 minute of it. All right, guys. So we are back, and our guest today, as already said, is none other than CEO and founder of Icebreakers Water. Welcome, Anthony Walton, to the show. Hey, brother, how you doing today?
Doing swell, doing good on this beautiful election Tuesday.
Yes, I know, right? So just a heads up to those watching. Yes, it is election Tuesday. We're actually filming. We have business to handle. So while everybody else is worried about who's going to be the next president, we're handling big man business, trying to get these companies built and get it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to share the information and to get our not even younger folks, man, but people that need fresh starts. We all, you go through a evolution and reinventing of yourselves, and who says you
Right.
can't do it? It's never too late, to
Exactly.
start on new paths. So we're here to help.
Yes, yes, no doubt. So just to give you guys a little bit of a little bit of foresight in this interview. I've known Anthony for like crazy years. He's known me since back in the day. So it's like old friends catching up and handling business all in one interview. So I'm excited about it. And we got some questions that we're gonna run down and just have a little fun tonight. So Anthony, my first question I want to ask, brother, is what inspired you to start Icebreakers and how did you come up with the name?
Well, so it initially was going to be a podcast. We started at the beginning of the pandemic, as a result of a lot of free time on our hands. We come out of the event industry. That's our trade, still one of our trades that we are heavily known for and in. And basically, we just didn't want to sit around. So I asked a friend of mine who I would hire as a camera guy. He was following me around when we would do shows and things like that. Hey man, let's do a podcast. Only thing is we never shot in the studio, and basically it was I'm gonna give you the longer version of it
All
since it's
right.
gonna because it's better to get the whole gist of it. So he and we kind of got into cars at the same time as far as the same type of cars, and mine at that time was a V6 Dodge Challenger before I knew any better. And he had a Charger, and I found myself Googling some stuff, and I was like, what is this about this particular piece on this car or whatever? Found this guy named Tall Guy Car Reviews. Cool dude, never met him in person, but he has some roots here in Arizona. Uh, and then I also saw a podcast, TI's Expeditiously with Alex Jones.
Oh, wow.
Uh, so these are two separate worlds, sort of thing, but like with our culture, we're heavy in the off-road industry. We have a lot of friends that do off-road racing and cars and things like that. At that time, like we didn't even, we were just sponsoring at that time. On the artist side. Like it wasn't. This is no water at all involved. This is just us putting together a program. And so, anyways, we found ourselves asking other folks, hey, what kind of car is that? Tell us a little bit about the car. What we found ourselves in the mix of was basically wealthy white dudes that had like these really cool, either classic cars or cars that are just coming out. I think the new Corvette was slated to come out, and the guy was talking about his Stingray and how he was on the list to get it. And
Okay.
um, and he was just like, yeah, I'm a engineer at Boeing, or where was it? Yeah, Boeing. He was an engineer getting ready to retire, and he was on the list. This is the funny part. So he's on the list, and he's like, I don't know, almost 60 years old, maybe 65.
Yeah.
And uh, 6 months later down the road, we ran into a kid that got the number three off the lot, like off the production line.
Yeah.
And we're like, how did that happen, right? And so it's not necessarily, the coin, but it's also the coin and who you know and things like that.
True.
But so we found ourselves amongst, folks that didn't look like us, but we're all human beings. And that was the very beginning of Icebreakers. We didn't quite have a name for it. Logo didn't look like this. This is
Right.
all super together at this point. But I had the understanding at that moment. I was like, dude, this is kind of cool because you have young African American men bridging a gap of communication with older white dudes. Um, younger, like it was all over the place, but basically I had folks from different backgrounds with similar interests, and the politics were just non-existent, similar to when I seen T.I. sit down with Alex Jones. So this was like mad respect on this was you have Alex Jones, who's like known to be extremely right,
Right.
and then you got T.I. and I'm sure you've been in that studio before. It's everything you would think the rap,
Yeah.
multi-millionaire rap mogul studio would be like. You got weed smoke and all the other stuff, and so me picturing Alex Jones in this environment, but they were having a very intellectual conversation, and they walked away with like respect, So it was an understanding, and we know just from studies that we're not at the age of 5, we've been taught so much to that point. Like we're not taught, I mean, like we're not born to be racist or to be a political affiliation or to have fears and things like that. Those are things that are learned behaviors. So it was mad respect to be able to see that and us experiencing it firsthand, being inside of the environment that we're in. We're based out of Arizona. It's everything you'd think Arizona to be. So we would find ourselves in these situations where we're on boats, and there's
Right.
Trump flags everywhere. And, you see another brother down the way, you're just like, hey, what's up, Mr. Yep, me and you, the only specks of pepper over here, But like, cigar, how you doing, young brother? You good? Yeah, yeah. But like, there's nothing political about it.
Right.
We're all able to come together. We would still chop it up, talk. Our program mixed in um, off-road industry. So we're teaching, like we're learning about these sports that we've never been a part of, growing up with and things like that. And we're asking these questions just being from where we're from, and we're airing it for multitudes to be able to learn and see about it and things. And like there's so much more out there in the world
Right.
beyond, a four ring or a box or wherever you want to play your balls at and things like that. Like there's just so much more out there that we just weren't privileged to be able to see, you know.
Right.
Uh, so that's how Icebreakers started.
Yes, and it's crazy you say that because as you were just sharing, so many thoughts came to mind. I mean, from starting out podcasting
Yeah.
and being a natural salesman, that it just seems like all kind of ideas and thoughts can race at one time. Like you can segue or transition into the next move. So it's like, okay, we're doing a podcast. I like the name Icebreakers because I used to attend these Toastmaster meetings. And I remember like an icebreaker is like, hey, when you get ready to do a speech, you got to break the ice. You got to have icebreakers. So the name kind of fits. And I was just wondering because I said, well, the water's called icebreakers. And I know ice, when the water's frozen, the glaciers. So and I was like, well, he's from Arizona. So I'm trying to get a feel for the name. So I think it's cool that you explain the history now and just helping people who may be doing podcasts or shows to recognize brand recognition that, hey, listen, you know, a company or a sponsor may take you for granted or they may, rock with you, but don't understand the value totally that you're bringing to their product as
Yeah.
you put it out there. And before long, you're realizing, well, shoot, I ain't got no beef with them, but I can push my own product and make this happen too. And I'm
Mhm.
glad you were able to do that with the water. So that's awesome. So like when you talk about water, because I remember, I'm an older generation, we're older generation. Most of us grew up with the water fountains with the hoses. It's
Oh man, those days.
right. You get the big metal box at school humming, making noise.
Yeah.
And fast forward, we see like, I guess in the late 90s to the 2000s, this rush of bottled water. I remember when people first were saying bottled water's coming out. I'm like, who's gonna pay for water when you can get it for free? And now it literally is like $1 billion industry. Like water has ballooned and grown. I'm talking about the biggest deal I think 50 Cent did was vitamin water. You know what I mean? You think movie shows that one deal.
And to think that was 2010. That's 14 years ago.
It's
And
crazy.
I think he did something with Smart Water prior to that.
Yes, yes. So just
But
to see that, that's crazy. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, no, but yeah, that deal, you're doing big deals when you hear people from different cultures talk about your deals. 2010, I moved for 10 months to LA and I was working for a chef, Italian chef, Joe Malillo, and he was on the phone with one of his other guys. This is, old Italian dude, right?
Right.
And they were like, "Yeah, can you believe this?" And
Yes, Moody just-
and I was, like, and I'm just, I'm like, and it didn't really register, but like I knew it because like, like that's my culture. 50 Cent is our culture.
right, right.
Like you got folks that are like in a whole nother league talking about your deals. That's a big thing. And
Yes.
yeah, he sure did.
And
Yeah, he sure did
it's
make it happen.
crazy you say that because one thing I do recognize, even in our conversation, as you discussed, um, the foundation of icebreakers and being in the midst of various cultures and groups. A lot of people don't get to experience that. I mean, I took it for granted growing up on military bases until I really settled and I stayed in more urban areas and started learning that everybody's not like privy to other cultures or what's going
Yeah,
on. Some guys,
yeah.
I mean, I got a code switch, when they finally catch up, but it kind of came natural. I see both in your world and in my world where we were able to kind of catch on quickly and say, hey, this is how it runs over here versus over there. And to be able to do that is amazing, just to be able to make that kind of a transition and to have success in it because the different industries you named from, Italian restaurant, working, podcasting shows, being able to now sell a brand, doing sales even. You have to be able to relate to various cultures to get sales across. You're not going to sell a lot,
Oh yeah.
multiple
No.
demographics.
Yeah, no, and that's, your father was Army, I believe.
Yes.
My dad, he was military as well. So yeah, we were able to, within the Bible Belt. I haven't. I think you were out of country.
And we went as far as Hawaii. We was in Oahu.
Oh, nice.
I went to Korea mad times, but I never got to go.
So yeah, I was just Bible Belt. The furthest north I think we did was like North Carolina, but it was majority Bible Belt where like Kentucky and all that sort of stuff. But nonetheless, like yeah, it was the cultures, and seeing that and understanding yeah, like majority of I mean I have a wide range of races that I deal with in terms of business. But when we were doing artistry, um, we became global products as soon as we uploaded to the internet.
Right.
So like if you just think of it in that aspect of it, like you can't think of just selling it right there, like what if somebody likes it over here? How are you going to do that? And so it's always about, trying to broaden the horizon and not alienating people. And
So,
it actually is a difficult task too. Um, a lot of people want their brands to be so wide that they at times are like, I don't know if I want people to know me starting out that it's a black brand. It might tarnish the image of it and all this other stuff. It's like, you know what? They're gonna like it regardless, or they're not gonna like it regardless. But you can't go out fearful of that. So you have to just take your best step forward, make sure your product is, whatever the product is, make sure it's fully packaged to the umpteenth degree because you're going to get tried.
yeah.
People go to the internet is unforgiving, and you just gotta make sure you have all your stuff as much in order as possible and then just go forward with it.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that because I was going to ask you, you said how the internet could be unforgiving when selling a product. And you put your best foot forward. You put all your heart and soul into it. It becomes almost like your child, like your baby. Like, man, I
Oh,
worked on this countless hours. I put this together. What do you think some of the biggest challenges you may have faced while launching Icebreakers, and what are some things you did to kind of overcome those type of challenges?
one main one is, let me see, that there, it's a daily thing, honestly. I think different phases. Let me start from maybe the most over the last couple of years would be investment opportunities. So, or people looking to invest in your product, rather. Okay. Um, Knowing when to do equity and you stay away from that.
Okay.
Um, Type of financing. The most difficult one is financing. Writing for grants, writing for, you'll get these opportunities to try to do these things, but what we've found out was like don't rely on those things. Rely on what you have in front of you right now.
Right.
And if that means your credit, it's got to be your credit. Um, if you don't believe in yourself enough to do your credit, then you can't expect somebody else to believe in it to do their credit, So it's kind of one of them things. But also, don't get tied up in percentages, like or don't get tied up in the thought of percentages.
Right.
So to grow, you're going to have to make deals, and that's just all there is to it. And it's all relative. So it goes back to what's 0% of zero sales is zero. Well, okay, what's 10% of a million sales? A lot. So 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 you gotta, if there's someone that's worthwhile wanting to endorse a product or something like that that you have, and they're talking percentages, don't be afraid of it. Don't say yes right away, but don't be afraid of it.
No doubt. I'm glad you brought that out because some people take for granted that. I mean, we see we're in a generation now, we've seen like Shark Tank, or we may have seen The Profit or some of these shows. And the
Yeah.
first thing I notice the sharks are asking is like, how much do you have vested in this? And they're like, well, I've taken a loan out. I've taken out my second mortgage. I've done this. And it's like when they see that, okay, you're willing to put your own up and you're actually surviving, you're still making it and you're bringing in some kind of a profit, then it's like, hey, you know what? Well, if he could do this with that, imagine if my money and my resources are behind this guy. So I'm glad you brought that out because some people do get blindsided by the illusion of entrepreneurship that, hey, everything's going to fall into place and I'm just going to be rich overnight. It's not going to cost me anything. I'm not going to have to burn out a credit card or two. Payroll got to be made. Okay, let me take out a loan. Well, you know what? Let me sell the boat so that I can afford to buy more product because people are making more orders. And if I don't have
Yeah.
the product, I can't fulfill the orders, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna bust. You know what I mean? So people
Yeah.
don't understand that part of entrepreneurship, that struggle to make those tough decisions, and then to have wisdom to know, like, okay, I'm bleeding out so much, there's nothing coming in. This might be one to walk away from. But I'm glad you've been able to navigate through those treacherous waters and still survive it. And the percentages is a big deal because I've learned that even in the logistics business, sometimes I have to give to gain. So I'm like, well, hey, if I give this guy a good enough percentage, he's going to run the freight and we're both going to make money together versus me saying, nah, I want it all. Let me figure out how to I drive and I'll dispatch and I'll be the broker and not getting
Mm.
anything. So I think it's great that you bring that out about the percentages.
Yeah. Yeah. It's trying to think of any other there. I mean, there's a lot of little nuanced sort of things too. But they're come to mind. I mean, they're
Right. Well, see, this is the thing that I tell people about entrepreneurship. With the 9 to 5, with the W-2 employee mindset, all I got to worry about is you get my hours right, did I get my vacation,
yeah.
am I off this weekend? Can I go to the game? Hey, I got my check, I got my 401k, I got my benefits, I'm good. With the entrepreneur, it's like, I gotta get payroll. Oh man, I gotta do these taxes. Oh man, I gotta get distribution to ship this stuff.
Be prepared not to make no money.
Yes, that too.
Like that's just really, like be prepared not to make no money. But like I I'm very thankful for the couple of friends that or mentors too that I have had in my path and still currently have, matter of fact, across the street from here. So we're in this big warehouse facility area. But from time to time, like I'll go and I'll holler at Sean and like he, hearing white people talk about money is different than hearing us talk about money.
Yeah.
So it's nothing for him to sell an old school car or something like that. He was like, man, I had to sell my old school, just like he's like, I'll get it back. The dude's asking me if I want to buy it back. Well, I'm like, nah, whatever. But like, he's like, yeah, man. He's like, yeah, nah, dude. He's like, dude, you need to go pop up. Where's the wheels for that van? Like each
Right.
step of the way, invest back into the business, and so, we're used the delivery van as we started out delivering out of the Challenger, out of the garage of the house, and then it slowly progressed into, where it's at now. But you can't be afraid
Mhm.
to live on, borrowed money. Like use borrowed money to pay for your goods, your products, like there's a way that all that disattaches from you.
Yeah.
And that's how the other cultures are known to grow with it. And I mean, we can get into the life insurance stuff, but that's a whole different ballgame. So on the simple part of it
Yes.
is use business credit as much as possible. Keep your money, keep your cash in house. When it's time to pay the bills or something like that, then you do it. But use your credit cards, utilize the um interest-free credit cards. Go buy all your product you can, on interest-free stuff or whatever the things that you're going to be reselling, interest-free credit cards. A lot of credit cards out there that are also giving money back after 90 days of hitting 2,000, 3,000. You look at that and you think that that can't happen that quick, but you'd be surprised. If it's interest-free, just divide it over 12, you're never pay interest on it. You're just going to pay off from the sales you're getting in, that credit card, and it not one time affects your credit unless you don't pay that monthly bill.
Exactly.
Uh, the mindset that I also, oh, this was the mindset, and it's still what I'm working on is in their words and the banker's word, that invoice. so so every if don't put your stuff on net 30. Sometimes it's going to be 45, sometimes it's going to be 60, but always pay you first.
Oh
So
yeah.
like make sure you're straight. You don't necessarily have to pull cash out of the business for you to be straight, but it's make sure your basics as a human are taken care of so you can get up every day and go into your office and do what you got to do, and then you pay the bills of the business.
Right.
So that is one that, coming from the style of hustles that I was accustomed to, which was, oh, I'm gonna go buy this for $1, I'm gonna sell it for three, and then I'm gonna take two back and go, but it's like it's never sitting here long enough to really be enjoyed. So that was the thing that I still deal with. I just like to, coming from where we come from, it makes me feel good when I pay anything on time. So
Right. No, I feel you. And it's crazy because what you just described too, like the good debt versus bad debt, like realizing, hey, this is business debt. I'm gonna get it, but I got to make sure the house is whole for us to be able to make money. I mean, if I'm, about to get the power shut off, I'm not gonna be able to make the phone calls or the emails to generate the computer to do the business. So you gotta take care
yeah,
of the house.
yeah, you have to, man. And I've always said that to myself. I'm like, how does a plumber sell their tools or pawn their tools, or how does a like you got to keep your jack on. You got to keep your tools handy. Those
Yes,
are things you
make
have
it.
to have.
Yeah, it's the only way you're gonna make it. And it's crazy because just as you were sharing those stories, I thought about some of the struggles again. financially wanting to have the money because especially with America being as wealthy of a nation as it is, you would think like, oh man, they got businesses all over the place. They're just dropping money out. But what people realize is really not happening like that. Like when you go out and you file that LLC, you get that bank account, that EIN number, and you're trying to get, grants or trying to get funds or some kind of scholarship money, just something to help get it to the next level, it doesn't always come. And I remember starting out, like when I was really trying to get into online selling, I didn't have a lot of money. I was working a 9 to 5. So I was looking at these wholesalers overseas, and I'm like, man, that's a lot of money to ship from China. Then the light bulb moment was like, wait a minute, the stuff at Walmart come from China, the stuff at the Dollar Tree come from China, everything made in China out here. So I started going to the Dollar Tree, and I saw they had these Android chargers in a box. They used to be coming in a cardboard box. Now they're cheesy, but back then they looked like they cost something. And I was like, wait a minute, how much y'all pay for these? And the lady's like, oh, we get cases of 24 in a box. I said, so for $24 as an LLC, no taxes, I could get 24 of these for $1 and I could sell them for 5 or 10. And I was selling them at my job and hustling them. I put them on eBay, was flipping them. We was able to pay off my wife's car back then, just flipping online. But we started like from the bottom, like getting $24 and buying some Android chargers, bringing that to the dock, selling it to the employees and anybody who will buy them, and then
Right.
reinvested that money into I started buying stuff from like Goodwill that were in
Yeah.
new boxes, like carbon monoxide monitor, but still in the box. And I'm like, okay, I could boom, upsell this online, or oh, that's a luxury brand purse at this thrift store. Let me Google to make sure it's authentic. I'm finna flip and sell this. And before long, we were able to start doing our e-commerce store, making some pretty good money.
Yeah.
Um, before we burned out. That's the other part of entrepreneurship. The burnout. After you've done it, you're like, man, I'm tired of going. I'm tired of buying packages. I'm tired of putting labels on boxes right now. And if we
Monday morning come quick.
right, and looking back, I wish I would have known about like scaling up or hiring or bringing on people to do. But because that was one of our first like entrepreneurial endeavors, I mean, we did some of everything like most entrepreneurs. We do multiple things. We did a record label for a while. We did songwriting, production. We did the e-commerce store. We did clothes. We were selling our own brand, and that went pretty good for a while. Just a lot of different things. And eventually logistics as far as the industry kind of became the bread and butter to where I was able to leave the traditional 9 to 5. But looking back, a lot of those other ventures, I wish I would have had the knowledge, as you were sharing earlier. Being with different cultures or having their understanding of how to do business sometimes can help you to see, like, man, there's a whole nother world out here. It's another way to do some things, y'all. We don't have to all carry it all on our back. And everybody's not making it like that. They get strategic partnerships, build
Yeah.
brands, and everybody make money together.
Yeah, and that's and it's I mean it's hard because like it's your baby. You
Yes.
gotta trust. So I had to start giving a key to the warehouse. So it started out with, obviously it was by the time we got into the warehouse, it was three of us um for Icebreakers, period. And this is before the wife got involved into it, like on that level of actual day-to-day stuff. So it was easy for me and the two brothers. All right, cool, we got the keys, but then it was like, oh, now we got the sales guy.
Yeah.
Unless I'm gonna be here every day for this guy to come and get stuff, give him a key. But that's why you got insurance. And then now I got another sales girl, and she's 100% speaks Spanish. So got to give a key. And so everybody has their stuff. Like you got to trust people to do what you hired them to do. So if they're salespeople, give them the space to do it. And like this part of it only, I think, has only come from life experience, from
True.
being from being 43 years old. Yeah, 43 now.
Yeah, double check. I wish.
43 years old of did I like it when somebody was, hey, you got that? You doing that? You're on the top of your stuff. Like you hire these people, like, if you hire them to do their stuff, let them do their stuff. Give them quotas, give them goals. As long as they're coachable, things like that. But like let them do their thing. If they're not doing their thing, then you get rid of them. But like you can't do everything. You can't hire someone to make the phone calls and you're still making the phone calls for them. And I caught myself doing it.
Right.
and I start messing up. Like, oh, you already talked to them, or I'll go and start doing invoices, and that's my wife's job. I'll go and start doing it. I'm jacking up the spreadsheet, like, and I know better when it happens. I laugh about it to myself, and I'm like, I'm gonna get caught because like I know better.
For real. Hey, it's the entrepreneur curse though. I know because I go through it with some of my team. Like you give them the responsibility and you don't want to micromanage. You're trying to
Yeah,
move into delegation. And it's like, I want to delegate this. But then
right.
it keeps you up at night because it's like, are they doing right? Are they gonna be there on time? Did I make sure this is done? Because you were so used to doing it by yourself before.
Well, you walk in the office and you sit down and you're just like, should I be doing something? And that's when it happens.
Yes, yes, for real. For real. I'm gonna tell you, it's tough not to.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of entrepreneurs say that, like as far as the art of delegation, there was a book that it's called the E Myth, and one of the things in the E Myth they were saying was like being able to find someone to actually do the job that you do, and kind of like allowing them to do it, and then what I love about the whole philosophy behind the book was if you organize your process, like say if you have a SOP, like a operating procedural manual, how to do it, anybody off the street could come in and read that SOP and can fill that position. So now if I've trained these people to know exactly what I know about sales, they know how to know which numbers to call, how to do it, how I research customers. They don't have to come to me every 5 minutes like, well, Mr. Walton, what do I do next? Mr. Walton, do you need me to like, nah, you already know what to do. I gave you the manual, I showed you, I trained you. Now I could just step back and watch you do it.
That leads me to, yeah, hiring qualified people, not because of your friends. So that right there, yep, because so folks that are in the sales position, these are probably the people that I know the least of, right? Like we're not friends outside of, what we got going on. When I tried to do that, that was when all the problems happened.
Yeah.
Folks with kids in, and it's a warehouse, right? So like we're family oriented, don't get me wrong. But like, I'm picking up after somebody else's kids. Like there's all this other stuff not coming in.
Yeah.
Like that's the major stuff. Not doing a delivery. Well, we deliver water. Like, like,
It's essential.
hey, I kind of need for you to, you know.
Hey, yes.
Yeah, so like that was that I would say that that's like a social thing. Like we want to assist people, and like people, if you're doing your job, people are going to ask you to help them one way or another, whether it's for a job or just ask for straight money straight out. But like, and it's admirable, like it's okay, yeah, this dude wants to work or this girl wants to work. Okay, cool. But like, if you don't put a layer between you and that person,
Right.
or now you got to add a layer, like that might be the hardest thing is if you've already been on a friendship level, then you go and add a layer in between, like, oh, you can't come to my office, you got to talk to such and such about that. Like that, it's just awkward. So it's just better. And we joke about it all the time, but I got fired from hiring people because it just didn't work out.
No, no,
Like,
no. I feel you. But what is you hit the nail on the head when you have a relationship already with the person. Sometimes it could take entrepreneurs for granted because they feel like, well, that's cuz or that's uncle or that's my homeboy or oh, we go way back. We play football. So they expect you to kind of like put up with their crap. Like, hey, my dog is sick. I really don't want to come today. You remember my cousin, the one you almost married? Yeah, she's in town. I got to spend the weekend with her. And you're like, bro, we got deadlines to make here. Come on, people. But they'll do that. They'll push back, and it's a slippery slope. So I'm glad that you've been able to overcome it. It's an obstacle I've struggled with. The people that work with me, a lot of them, even some that work for me, they're like, "Oh man, you're being too nice. You're being too nice." And I've had several say, "Hey, allow me to be the villain. Let me come in and lay down the hammer. I don't mind." And I've been
yeah,
working hard on that. Like, okay, let me go and let these people say what they got to say every once in a while, though. But and I'm gonna tell you what really is amazing to me too. I love the fact that you got your wife involved because a lot of times in business and even entrepreneurship, I can't stress the importance of having a supportive spouse.
yeah,
And some spouses support, but they don't want to be a part. They're like, "Hey, I support you. you want to go sell all the water you can, but I'm not coming on board. I'm not putting my time in. So the fact that you got her to come in, like that's, hey, that's important.
And and we weren't necessarily because like I mean, it was the first warehouse. It was kind of the boys' club,
Right.
like you know, it was where we kicked back. We got the Xbox and all that sort of stuff. But like, you got it got to a point where I was spending so much time retraining a new person to do something where it was like I'm overlooking like probably my number one resource or weapon. She's a director at it. Like she's already like she's so organized. Like that's all the job is just organize and know how to talk to people in a professional way, and but and then like she sees like she's seen the entire culture of it, so that helps too. But yeah, it was a knowing how much she does for the family already.
Right.
I did not want to ask like that. I like it was like all these reasons, but the number one was she has like, and she has her own stuff. Like she's in school and she's a director at her job. She has her own responsibilities than
Right.
to run with this one. And at that time, but when I did it, it was like, hey babe, I need you to kind of. She was like, I don't want for this to be I don't want for this to affect our relationship any sort of way. Da, 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 da. I was like, I already know. Like I already am prepared. Like, she asked questions. She's gonna be all in the numbers. I already know. Good thing I'm organized. Good thing I ain't doing no dirt. We're all good. So it was like, yeah, I was like, I know. And when she asked me those questions where, or hey, how come such and such hasn't paid yet? Da, 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 da. I'm just like, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
They have that ability. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, a lot of brothers don't want to admit it, but man, the women can come through like no other. I mean, they will catch on. They'll read stuff, and I mean, a lot of times, people say, "Well, women think emotional, we think analytical, all this." But there's some sharp women out there that can pull your card. Like, hold on, these numbers ain't adding up. Why are we paying them this again? And why are we doing
Yeah.
this? Like, whoa, you could be cold like we, it ain't all sweet like they say it is. So
Oh man.
they can run it now if you give them opportunity.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we're a family-based business, man, and so it's pretty cool. We have our family and friends that are close with us, involved, and wherever people can, like spreading the word, like that's the biggest, like probably thank you that people can do for us that we appreciate. So,
Yes. And I want to ask you that too. I'm glad you said that because it's important for each one to reach out. And for those watching, all of the businesses that we bring on, we love for you guys to try to support, to go check out financially. We usually put the link in the description where you're able to go to buy Icebreakers, Artisan Spring Water. You can go ahead and start investing in these companies. And if you like the stories, leave a comment, share like, hey, I would like to hear more about this, or I'd like to learn more about that. We could always do what the young people say when they say they finna be back. They're gonna do another drive-by in the neighborhood. We could come right back on and follow up. Like we finna
yes.
circle the block. Yeah, we spin the block. We coming back. But I was gonna ask you, what advice would you have like for aspiring entrepreneurs or people who may think they want to start a product-based business? What advice probably would you give some of the viewers out there today?
Research.
True.
So we get caught up in don't get caught up in the fad. It's a limited time offer. So you want something that's going to be that you can see yourself doing years from now. And I know that that's hard to determine right now, especially being a young kid or even, 19 to, you know, I don't know what lifetime we're in now, you and I, but it
Right.
took a long time, a couple of them, for us to get to where we are in understanding and things like that. But whatever it is that you choose to do, don't do it because somebody else is doing it or because you think it's going to be easy. You want something that you're going to be able to leave to like your family.
Right.
And don't make any rush decisions overnight on what you want it to do. Um, and then start doing your work from there. The most important thing that you can do is trademark your stuff because that is like the number one thing like I get all the time. Isn't there a gum? You're gonna get sued. Like, good thing I'm trademarked.
Right.
But being sued is all part of the business anyways. You
True.
think Hershey's gonna come, like, you think I'm gonna say no to Hershey if they want to settle a lawsuit? I'm like, oh, you want to buy Icebreakers? Like the water part of it because you got a gum?
No doubt.
Shit. 100 million, 50 cent.
Like, take it, right. No, you're right. I'm glad you said it though, because research is so important. I mean, a lot of people, when I hear people talk about business, and it's funny because I guess because of the internet, YouTube, all these things, it's kind of a phenomenon where we have a lot of people saying, I want to be a business owner, I want to be an entrepreneur. Or maybe they saw like Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg and figured, oh, I want to do that, just haphazardly, but not doing the research and understanding that it may take years and years and years to get to that point.
God, yeah.
Whatever it is you chose to do, have a passion about it. Because if you really don't love what you're doing and you're not really enthusiastic about it, how am I going to convince somebody to buy this product from me if I don't even wear my own gear? You know what I mean? I don't even like my own clothes, but I'm going to try to push it off on you guys. You can be like, man, get out of here. You don't even wear it. You don't believe in it. Or if I'm trying to sell you, hey, buy this candy bar. You're like, bro, it tastes nasty. It don't taste as good. What are you selling me this candy bar for? So like them having the research to understanding that, hey, if I'm gonna do a restaurant business, what I think it's like within the first 3 years, 50% of them flop. So I know
Yeah.
I
Like you see a ton of money up front, but like it's like it's going to be gone. Like there are. So I sell to a lot of different like styles of businesses. Clothing stores carry us. We have, of course, mom and pop stuff. The smoke shops, they turn hands all the time. Um, that restaurant one and that bar one, it is a really beast, man. And when I walk into those locations, like I give them an even bigger hug because they're still around, if they are still around. But yeah, that's the hardest thing is, you don't want it to be just this short-lived thing. Like you're going to put all this work into something for
right.
it to only not be there later. And like part of the chip on my shoulder sort of thing is I'll get a no or like someone act real rude or something from a restaurant at me or something like that. It's like, all right, a week later, the restaurant don't even be there. It'd be like, that was a waste. I don't even let it waste like bother me anymore because it's such a waste of time. But
Yes.
yeah, whatever it is you want it to do it for the right reasons. Do it because, absolutely you want to make money at it. You absolutely do. But you want to make sure that you're taking the appropriate steps for it to be a legacy.
Yes.
Um, that's one of the biggest things. There's something else. You'll see these shorts on like Instagram or TikTok.
Right.
They're, and they're always like, because like they're not saying it. They're just like read the above comment, and it's like it says, okay, yeah, 650 credit score, go get $100,000, start a business. It's like that's not how that quite works. Like you really gotta. And I started reading the comments, and then there are some people that are like, hold up, like first off, like real estate was one of them. It was like, yeah, you could absolutely build a house cheaper than if you hire someone else to do it, but like it doesn't quite work that way. You can't go get a commercial loan and do it in a specific manner unless you are already in
Yeah.
that field like that because they're
Yeah.
not going to hard like give you hard money like that, and you can't, you
Pay
know,
it back.
right?
Oh, you
Because
can pay it back.
a hard money loan is like you got to build the property in 90 days, period, or they're going to take it from you. So like it's these things that vet the information.
Right.
You go to get these loans nowadays because of the way people were burning out the funders is there you're guaranteed on those loans still. Like
Yeah.
unless you're Coca-Cola or McDonald's or like you've been established for like longer than what you're looking at that video for, the they're gonna run your credit also.
Yes.
Um, the misinterpretation and this was something I actually brought up to the bank's attention because they didn't know this. But when you do get your business credit cards, the only time those things even report on your credit is if you did something bad, like missed a payment. So unless you paying into Duns and Bradstreet
Yeah.
$15 a year for them to actively go and pull those reports and things like that, though you're not going to get good credit marks for just paying your credit card bills. So there's all these things that aren't in the books. Like I said, the bank didn't know that. I was like, yeah, like the card ain't even like reporting the positives on the Dun and Bradstreet. They're like, really? I'm like, no, they said that I had to do this. Like, what? And I'm like, aren't you the vice president of the branch? Ain't you supposed to know this stuff? But they don't. You cannot assume that because someone is in that position that they know something that it's your business, you need to know as much or more than those folks that you presume. Like, don't trust nothing. Like, really
Yes.
do your stuff.
Yes, and it's crazy you say that because that was something I had to tell people about because I had people saying, well, can I just go get this business loan, like you stated? I mean, between the TikToks and all the videos, oh, just get the loan, do this, do that. And I'm telling people, like, hey, do you have 2 years of tax returns to show them?
Oh, that's the first thing they're gonna ask.
Ask for 2 years tax return. You can't just wake up like, oh, I need y'all to give me $150,000 and you still living over here at this apartment. They're not hearing that. They're like, bro, I need 2 years tax returns. How long have you been in business for? I just filed my LLC last month because the guy on YouTube told me as long as I got an LLC and a business bank account, you gonna give me the money. And the bank's looking like, nah, bro, we need to check some things. There's still checks and balances. And I
Oh,
remember a friend of mine, he had got a loan offer, and when he began to dig deeper into it, the amount of interest that he would have paid and the time to pay it back in, it wasn't like a mortgage, like, oh, we give you 30 years, we're giving 5, 7, 10 years to pay this. They're like, oh, we expect this back within a year. It's like, what? Within a yeah. If you're borrowing this, and he's like, what are them payments going to look like? And the payments was astronomical. And I was like, well, that's the difference. I mean, you kind of alluded to it. Business is a different ball game, and a lot of times people don't realize their guarantees or their personal credit, your house. You may have to put your house up for some of this stuff.
oh, they'll ask you what type of assets you have.
Yes.
And they'll Comerica was like, we're a bougie bank. Like, we want to put our name on a building. So I
Yeah.
was like, wow. I was like, no, I don't own the warehouse. It was like that was last year. But yeah, there are yes, you may be able to do it if you have bad credit scores, but there are some things that you have to make up for that. They'll
Yes.
ask for maybe some projections. Um, the number one thing is the business plan.
Yeah.
Business plan is part it's part truth, not fiction, but it is how you would like things to turn out in a perfect world.
All right.
So you have a snapshot of yesterday, you have a snapshot of yesterday, snapshot of today, and then you have, I'm guessing we're going to do this in the future.
Mhm.
So those are that right there is the number one thing. Like,
Yes.
straight off is going to be your business plan.
Now let me ask you because I know we're wrapping up to about an hour, so I'm gonna go ask these questions really fast too because I want to give everybody the website and the contact information where they can buy Icebreakers water as well.
Okay. Icebreakerswater.com. It's icebreakers with a S water.com. That's the website. Um, other question was what's coming up?
Yes. So what else do you have coming up next with Icebreakers? What's some upcoming products or developments you guys are excited to share?
So we just got one of our stores that are like kind of out of town. It's like a rest stop sort of place. We just got their t-shirt business, so we're going to be doing some Christmas style icebreaker
Hey,
stuff. That's going to go fill up another shelf over there.
all right.
Um, Let me see what else. We just got in one magazine out of Atlanta called In the City. Um, this just came in.
Hey, all right, all right. In the city, ATL stand up represent.
Oh, hold on. They got the,
Oh, no, it's how they got in there. The map, the 285.
285 map. But yeah, we're in a several upcoming editions of this magazine. So this is the ad that's in there. They just did a shoot with Rick Ross. So we're being that one. I think we're in like two of them. So yeah, I think this month and next month
All right,
that
all right.
two magazines, and then we have another one that we just did a shoot for the fall season. So we just did a shoot for that. What else do we have coming up? We just got Oh, we just got asked to sponsor another car. It's a sprint car, so that'd be four off-road vehicles, five, five active off-road vehicles. So the sprint car is actually piloted by a 15-year-old boy.
Oh,
Yeah, so he's been racing since he was five. So his dad reached out, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty cool." They just asked if they could put the logo on the car, and we used to get like just these little stickers. Like they'd be like, "Yeah, can we just put a sticker on the car?" It's like, but now with what's going on, we actually, if you ask us, and it's going to be like the demand is the majority of it. Uh,
okay.
so yeah, so we got that. We just got the off-road truck.
Oh man.
What are some other?
Oh, that's exciting. I mean, I can't wait, especially for the 50-year-old. Shout out to them. That's going to be awesome to see the Icebreakers logo running around the track on there. I ain't mad at it.
Yeah, it's cool, man, because it's the kids, man. Oh, so the nonprofit. So we did, yeah, so we started the nonprofit. So our ambition, what we are hoping to do is to start a STEM program for 16 to 19-year-olds.
Awesome.
Um, Focus in on the tech side of audio video.
Oh
So
man, that's going to be great. Yeah, and it's so needed because if people don't realize how important it is to reinvest in our children in the future, because a lot of these kids are running around here lost. I definitely commend Icebreakers for that, to be willing to invest to help young people. And what better direction to point them in than STEM right now? I mean, science, technology, engineering, math is like killing it right now. To work with them even in sound and audio and to help them understand that. I don't know how the industry is coming up in Arizona, but I'm sure it's large, just like Atlanta's been. Film has been huge for our state, and y'all are right by California, so I know people are coming out there filming like crazy as well. So yeah,
yeah,
just showing them that is going to be a awesome gift to give back, and nothing really compares to pouring back into the lives of the next generation. I mean, like it's a good feeling to know that you're giving back for a noble cause. Hats off to you guys for that too, definitely.
thank you. I mean, people took time with us, so.
Yes. Yes, he did. I was a knucklehead. I'll be the first to tell it. Thank God for those who came through when I was a knucklehead in high school carrying on. I thank God for those that actually try to correct us and tell us what we need to do because life was reckless. We're going to do another show, guys. I definitely want to catch you on when I go over some of that past. That will be interesting. Chess tapes and stuff and the old music. You a trip.
Oh man, yeah, those are some good fun times, man. Um, Atlanta, real easy to get a product out into a store. You just tell a manager, a buyer, a owner, hey, I like this product. Can y'all order it? And they'll be like, okay. Like it's really that simple.
Okay.
So they'll just get on the email or call us or something, and we're able to ship it out. I mean, of course, there's like pricing and things like that, but
Hey, I'm
that,
gonna go ahead and tell everybody now, make that appeal. If y'all at Kroger or at Publix, and y'all know the different Krogers, whether it's the party Kroger, the murder Kroger, whatever Kroger you at in Atlanta, I need you to go up in there. Yeah, they got the murder Kroger. They name Krogers out here because stuff go down at Kroger now. You know, Atlanta's
wait,
wild.
wait, wait. If the murder one would have happened to be Memorial Drive
I know. Right? Look,
or
and
the Columbia,
look. The only one I don't even want to say the ones I go to. I might mess around. They run up on me in Kroger. I only go to certain ones.
oh,
If you're at Publix and I think we got a Food Lion out here. We got a couple of spots. We got a Little Giant out here. Go in these places, y'all. Tell them that you want Icebreakers spring water out of Arizona. Give them the website. Give them the information. Tell them you buy some cases so that way we can help our brother support and grow his business and take care of the fam. Definitely. That'll be
Yeah.
dope. And you could also order online, go to that website, go ahead and get it. And
Amazon, Amazon, Amazon.
yes, hey, they're no joke. The Amazon is where it's at. You can get it all and they'll get it to you fast. Like they'll have it to you like next day, probably full with Amazon. They don't
Yep.
play.
So free shipping.
Anthony, you want to give out any shout outs too, right quick, before we close them out?
Love to shout out first off, God for giving us the chances to be able to do things that we do. We're stewards of what you see around us. Like these are not our items. When we're gone, these items are still gonna be here
Right,
for
right.
somebody else. But I certainly want to give God his. My wife. Um, and my team, Rob, Will, Rizzo. Thank you, Micah. God bless you and your family. Me and Joel, we've been on Facebook forever. Like I see him doing stuff. Big boy married now. I'm
Right.
like, go ahead, dude. Who would have thought? Like,
For real. That's why
we
I
was
said
wild. We was wild. I'm just saying.
through the whole crew. Hey, I'm going to be on it. We're going to be sharing it. And you guys, if you love this type of content, be sure to hit like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends, visit the website. Again, we're going to have it all in the link for you so that you can support everything that Anthony and the team is doing. And be sure you guys subscribe and share the channel. We want to do more interviews and get more people on the show. So you guys helping with our viewership and sharing and letting us know what you like is going to help us get more guests on. But Anthony, I appreciate your time today. I know it's a rough time to get back in the office because we got this whole election mess going on, but I'm glad we're able to catch up a little bit at least.